This is the KoperCrabb
Podcast. We're back, baby.
We are motherfucking back.
We've been gone. It's been a long time. We shouldn't have left you.
I guess we were on quote-unquote break.
It was our holiday break, if you will.
Break from the podcast, but not break from anything else.
Yeah. That's why we had to take a break from the podcast.
True.
However, we're coming back. We're coming in hot. It's the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's the last podcast of 2019. The last one of the decade.
It's been a crazy decade.
It really has.
I can't believe it.
That the decade is coming to an end?
Yeah.
The year. Yeah, it's not really significant. I mean, it is because it's a new year beginning. You know, it's just time.
True.
Moving forward. But it does, to me, at the beginning of every year, kind of feel fresh and new. And to say goodbye to an entire decade is kind of strange. As we were going through the songs that we're going to talk about on this podcast earlier tonight, I felt like I was kind of going down memory lane.
Yeah, definitely.
Taking a walk down memory lane.
I know, and it seemed so quick.
Yeah.
Which kind of scared me a little bit. That's probably how it feels like when you get to the end of your life.
Yeah, I mean, they say that the older you get, the faster time moves, and I think that's... I feel like it's true. When I was a kid, I remember everything seemed like it took so long.
Yeah. Like a year?
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, that's a different lifetime away.
Yeah, I mean, even waiting a half an hour for a show to be on, watching Nickelodeon and knowing that the new episode of Rugrats was coming on at 7 and it was 5. Yeah. And I just couldn't wait.
You're like, I gotta watch 4 shows before that.
Yeah. I used to measure time that way by shows.
Yeah.
By half an hour shows, and that used to seem so long, and now it doesn't seem like anything.
What about when you were younger and you used to go to like concert shows? Mm-hmm. I remember the headliner would come on at like 11 or whatever, and I would be so fucking tired.
Me too.
And I just couldn't wait for like my mom to come pick me up. But the band would just play for like what seemed like an eternity.
Oh man, I definitely remember that. I remember specifically Slipknot was playing in Ames, and my best friend Eddie and I and our friend Shane went to the show, and we were the first or second people in line. And this is a Slipknot show in Iowa. It was fucking hype.
That's hardcore.
And so we were in line, I think 5 hours before the show started, and then throughout the entire show. It's the longest show of life. And
that was a lifetime right there.
Yeah. My friend Shane's dad picked us up from that show.
Yeah.
Shane's dad was a drummer, and these are two of the people who like really started to get me interested in drumming. They were both drummers. Anyway, Shane's dad picked us up from the show, and he had McDonald's cheeseburgers with him.
Solid.
And fries. And it was the best McDonald's I've eaten in my life. So delicious.
Lukewarm McDonald's?
Yeah.
Or was it super hot?
I can't remember.
So when was that?
That must have been 2005.
Okay.
2004. Yeah. It was Slipknot, Lamb of God, and Shadows Fall. And we were in the front row, and Eddie and I were very small people, and we were surrounded by huge men.
Yeah.
And we were in the front row on the barricade, getting smashed into the barricade.
Yeah.
And all of the men around us kept asking us if we wanted them to help us out of the crowd because it was so fucking nuts. But I remember the next day I had a barricade bruise across my rib cage. Yeah. I've never had that.
I had a similar experience
except for that time.
To that one. Except for it was the total opposite. So I used to be really, really small. I might have told this story already, but I used to be pretty small, and we went to see Family Values tour, me and Chase, 99, and
damn.
When Limp Bizkit went on, like...
Well, who was on this first?
It was Limp Bizkit, Korn. No. Sorry, not Korn. Limp Bizkit, Primus, kind of random. Stained, Rammstein.
Damn.
My second time seeing Rammstein.
Really? You've seen them twice?
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's some California shit. That's like, you guys, I remember looking at tour routing always, still to this day, and Iowa never even
True,
considered.
you didn't get like the big shows.
I mean, we've been a band for 5 years and we've only played Iowa 3 times.
That's true. But so when Limp Bizkit went on, like everyone bum rushed the stage, and I was just surrounded and getting squashed by fat chicks. Dude, and
were you in heaven?
No, I was super scared, and I thought I couldn't.
You were scared?
Yeah, because the crowd
super,
was
like,
smashing. Yeah, and dude, I was like, help, and the security guard had to pull me out.
No.
Yeah.
Are you sure that you weren't just like perceiving it as being a sea of fat chicks, or was it like
no, dude?
Fat
no, it was
lady
like,
was.
It was surrounded by fat chicks, but I don't know how big they really were. Like I said, when I was that age, I looked like I was 9, but I was really like, I don't know, 14 or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a story.
It's pretty funny. Not my manliest moment. So that happened. But that didn't happen in this previous decade that we're trying to talk about.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that a lot of stuff happened before that decade. You know?
I mean,
I guess I'm that old. You know?
I graduated from high school in the decade before this one.
Yeah, exactly.
So a lot of stuff has happened since then. We met in the last decade. We're coming upon our 10-year anniversary of having met, not of having.
Yep, that's in February.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I started thinking about. I guess we should explain. We picked out
15 songs.
We were gonna do 10. No, we were going to do albums.
We were first going to do 10 albums of the decade. And that, to me, would have been so much easier than this songs thing that you threw on us.
I know, but I don't think
today.
it's as, like, I guess I'm thinking more of, like, DJ-minded.
Yeah.
You know? Like, all right, what's your 2010 to 2020 mixtape?
Yeah,
right?
Which is a really cool idea. And what I came to find when I was coming up with my list, a lot of, I would say probably half of the songs I chose wouldn't be on my albums of the decade, or they wouldn't be, the album that they're on would not be one of my favorite albums of the decade.
Exactly. It's like a different, when you're thinking of just the songs, it's like a different thing to pick out.
Totally.
It's more. I think it's more expressive in a way. I guess I'm really overthinking this, obviously.
Well, and there were a few artists that it was really hard for me to pick one specific song, and I'm sure I'll talk about it when we get to that. Yeah. But for those songs, I went through and listened to them all today, and I was kind of like saying, I picked out the one that I would show someone else first.
Exactly.
Or the one that held the most sentimental value to me.
Exactly. Because
it was really interesting because, it was taking a walk down memory lane. It brought up a lot of memories because music, for me, kind of, my life has been a soundtrack, like songs.
Exactly.
So
yeah, if it's a soundtrack, it's like I
wanted
us to create that soundtrack.
Yeah, of the last 10 years.
And we should put these all on a Spotify list or something.
Yeah, we absolutely will. I know that we keep saying we'll do a Spotify
Can we do
thing,
a KoperCrabb podcast Spotify
Yeah,
post?
we're going to do that now. We both have time off from work for the holidays.
How about by the time this episode airs?
Yeah,
you'll have a list.
Yeah, we're going to put up a playlist.
Yeah, I'm finally actually on real vacation tonight.
Yeah.
So that means Navene's cracking a Guinness.
Little wine.
What up?
And it was really, really fucking hard to pick out 15 songs that define the decade for me. There are songs that came very close that I might regret that I didn't put on the list halfway through, but, you know.
I think it's just 15, you get a good feel for what was the soundtrack, you know? And I guess it's, I think my list is pretty, it's definitely hard to know what song to omit, right?
Oh,
it's like impossible.
Yeah, absolutely impossible, especially for us where way into music.
Yeah, exactly.
We care a lot about music. I realized that today because you just brought up the idea today of coming up with our favorite songs. And when you told me that, I was like, oh my God, I like really love music.
I know.
It's really hard to. So yeah, we're going to go through the list and I hope you guys find something to enjoy.
They're not really in. I think all of mine are not going to be in order until I get to top 3.
Mine just aren't in order.
You're not going to say, oh, this is my number 1 song of the decade?
No, because that's totally impossible to say.
I've got mine for the decade.
But I bet that I know what song you're going to pick, but I bet that, for me, it's ever changing. And I'll go back and forth.
Why not change? Just make it up, dude.
No.
For the, just for the show quality.
No. I'm not going to do that.
They don't know that it's ever changing.
Yeah, but that's how it is. I'm not going to say my top songs. They're not in order.
All right. Well, I'm going to have mine be top 3 in order.
All right. You do you.
All right, Chaney, you want to kick us off with your, one of your songs, not number 15, just a song?
Fuck you. Okay, the first song that I'm going to talk about, because I've been talking about her so much, because I've listened to Emma Ruth Rundle so much this year. So the first song I want to talk about is Marked for Death by Emma Ruth Rundle. It's from the album Marked for Death, and it came out in 2016. This is one of those people, she would have had an album on my top 10 of the 2010s for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And she had the most songs for me to choose from.
Okay.
The reason that I chose Marked for Death, and Marked for Death wouldn't even be the album that was in my top 10. It would probably be on Dark Horses.
See, that's why I think the song thing is cool.
It's very cool, because the reason that I picked this song is because this is the first Emma Ruth Rundle song that I heard.
And how'd you hear about it?
I just always heard the name Emma Ruth Rundle. I've seen the t-shirts around.
Just then figured you'd check it out.
Figured I'd check it out. Seemed kind of up my alley because I saw her like on Chelsea Wolfe tours and stuff like that. Checked out Marked for Death. It was the top song on her Spotify, and that's why I checked it out. And after I heard that song, I was completely fucking obsessed, and I listened to nothing but Emma Ruth Rundle for 3 months. Damn. But yeah, that's a really great song.
There it is.
It's yeah.
And when did that come out? 2016, you said?
2016.
Okay, cool. Very cool. All right, I guess I'll shoot one out there. I'm going to kick it off. Something I've been listening to a lot this week is the Faceless.
Yeah.
The newest album in Becoming a Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
I picked Digging the Grave, which is the first. There's like an intro, and then that's the first actual song.
Good song.
But I kind of didn't really get that in. I thought the album was really awesome. I listened to it a couple times when it came out, and then over the last week, I've been listening to it like every day. And I gotta say, man, that thing it rips.
It's a good album. Every Faceless album is good to me. I would have personally probably picked something off of Autotheism. It was hard for me to not. I didn't put a Faceless song on mine because I knew you were going to, and we'd talk about it.
I like this album more than Autotheism.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This seems like I don't know. It's just really sick. And Keen's singing is like the best it's been on this album, I believe.
I love Keen's vocals. I know that some people don't like them maybe, but I love his voice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's very like Depeche Mode-y, just totally up my alley, and it's great.
The Depeche Mode cover is also really sick.
That's a really good song.
But yeah, little known fact, I played on a couple songs on Akeldama.
And when Autotheism was being recorded, we lived with Keen.
We did.
I remember Evan being there and tracking the album, and
so we could overhear Keen working on the album from the next room over.
Keen's mom coming and singing that one part.
Yep.
What are the lyrics on that part?
I don't know. I'm just thinking of the Akeldama one.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've known Faceless for forever. They went on tour with Animosity back in the day.
Great band.
And great band.
Kind of fucking flipped the game up, the Faceless.
Definitely.
For me.
I guess another thing I'll talk about is the way that I met Michael Keane, was when we first had the idea to start Fleshrot. Johnny knew him, and this was like before Akaldama even was out. So I think they just had like a song on MySpace or something. It was probably like 2005 or 4. And Johnny like connected us to make a demo. We were gonna make like an EP or something. It never like got finished for whatever reason. But Animosity played a show down in Ventura, and then I drove over to Keen's house and stayed with him for the weekend, and we recorded a couple songs. And I just like, I had never met someone like me, you know, who was like in a band and played music and recorded their own stuff. Like that totally changed my whole perception of everything.
Yeah, and you and Keen kind of remind me of each other. He is the guy in the Faceless. He writes the music, a lot of the music for the Faceless, and you're very much that like type of personality as well. You remind me of each other a lot.
It had such a huge impact on me. I was like, this fucking... So we had recorded or something all day, and then he was like, oh, do you want to hear my band? And I'm like, yeah, for sure. And he played me An Autopsy.
Holy shit.
And I was like...
I love that song.
What the fuck is this? It's like... I was like, it's like death metal mixed with like Meshuggah, and there's like synths, and... Because, I mean, think about it. There wasn't really stuff like that at the time.
Oh, I know.
And then I was like, this kid just sits in here and records it all? Like, I want to do that, you know? And that's really what inspired me to do Fleshrot and to start recording.
Wow,
and
amazing.
Like, Keen was already way sick at it, and, you know, I'll always have respect for him because he would, like... He was, like, the only guy I knew who recorded, you know? I mean, I knew Zach, but I didn't really want to, like, bug Zach with, like... For some reason, I felt more comfortable bugging Keen about, like, you know, how to noise gate a tom or something like that. You know, he taught me a lot of stuff in the beginning. So.
Wow. Thank you. Thanks, Keen.
So, yeah, that was crazy stuff right there. And I've been jamming that new one. And even though it's a newer album, it's still, like, just that style, Faceless style, has some sort of nostalgia with me.
One thing that Keen really has a knack for, every solo of his is a solo that you feel always existed after you hear it. Oh, yeah. They're so fucking classic.
Totally.
And that's one of my favorite parts of the Faceless.
Yeah, so always been a fan.
Definitely.
Super good stuff.
Definitely. Me too.
And that's a good story. I also went on tour with him. I did one tour on drums.
Oh, shit. So look at you.
I'm not trying to brag. I'm just filling people in.
I'm not trying to brag. I'm not trying to brag, but just so everyone knows. Okay?
Just so you're informed. You know?
All right. I'm going to go for my number 2 album, which is not number 2. It's just up in the ether of albums. It's one of the greats.
2 of 15.
Songs. Sorry. 2 of 15. We're getting through this very slowly. So, all right. I'm going with
shows.
Converge, All We Love, We Leave Behind by the album of the same name. That to me is just like pinnacle Converge song. Great riffs.
Yeah.
Chaotic drumming. Good lyrics by Jay Bannon. It's just
like got everything. It's kind of got everything you want.
I really think that on that album has my favorite Jacob Bannon vocals. He really just like honed in on that album, and it's love that song, love that album, love the band.
Yeah, great band. I'm a fan.
I was not in the band. I don't have a story like Navene.
I've got some story. I've already told some Converge stories.
Yeah, you know.
On one of these other podcasts.
Yeah.
For those of you that didn't hear that, here we go. No, in short, Animosity toured with Converge in Europe. It was our first European tour.
You tracked an album with Kurt Ballou.
We did an album with Kurt Ballou, and I tried to mosh for Converge. Immediately got smacked in the mouth and got a fat lip.
Oh, that's the mosh story.
Yes.
Fat lip.
I'm gonna mosh.
Going to the party like my name was El Nino. I'm hanging out. Is that fat lip?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's on I'm Gonna Fucking Mosh. I think it's episode 3 or something.
Wow, good memory. You
But
usually
anyway.
don't have a good memory. But
I know, just because
guess
it's
when
called I'm Gonna Fucking Mosh.
Oh, yeah. All right.
So if you want to hear that story in detail, listen to that podcast. So here's another thing that's a little more recent that I've been into the last few years. Jacob Collier. How you like that, Chaney?
I don't know, because I don't know how to pronounce his
Well, that's what I'm
name.
doing now. I'm French now, baby. And that's
Would you like a
in my
croissant?
room. I chose In My Room, the song, which I believe is a Beach Boys cover.
It's a Beach Boys
Okay.
cover. Yes.
That's actually my favorite song on the album.
It's a really good cover.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
Yeah. So when I heard about that kid, I like music that makes me feel subtly jealous. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
Where I hear it and I go, fuck, I wish I could do that. You know?
Yeah.
And that's what I think about, like, when I listen to him. And it's not like a negative thing. It's just like, it's inspiring.
Yeah, that is inspiring. That guy is also a total crazy genius.
Yeah.
If you watch, he has videos up on YouTube of him like describing music theory.
I know
and
that
going
one
through all
video.
kinds of
That's how I
crazy
found
shit.
out who he was.
Yeah, he's insane.
It was like, I was like, what is this guy? And then I heard, that was the first song I found on Spotify, and I was like, whoa, this is fucking awesome.
See, Spotify kind of.
That's what I'm trying to say, man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have went out and bought the guy's album.
I know, and I'm talking Emma Ruth Rundle, Spotify. I mean, there's YouTube.
A lot of Spotify
There's
stuff.
YouTube.
But we're gonna get our way back on this list, which predates Spotify. Okay.
Is that true?
Yeah.
What year did Spotify come out? Make its debut.
I don't know, but
We need a third guy over there to like pull stuff up on the
I know,
internet
I
so
know.
that we have facts.
yeah.
All right, my next song I'm going Drab Majesty
Ooh.
Dot in the Sky from The Demonstration 2017. Drab Majesty to me is one of the best bands to come out in the last decade. They just hit the 80s on the head. They know how to do the 80s in a modern way and they kill it, and that would be the first song that I would show someone for sure.
Definitely.
From them.
That's kind of all the song. That's all the songs.
Very
that
catchy.
you need, really.
Yeah.
But in the previous decade that we're just coming out, I got so I think the decade before that one, I was heavily into metal and progressive. And then in 2010 to 2020 is where I really started, I guess, getting heavily into electronic music and all kinds of other branching out, I guess you could say. I mean, I've always been somewhat eclectic, but I really spent a lot of time listening to all different kinds of electronic music. And so that's a warning that a lot of the songs on this list here are not metal.
Most of my songs most of my songs aren't
So with that being said,
either.
I talk about it a lot that I'm into sort of like heavier drum and bass, and this is a really good first song to listen to get you into that kind of stuff and see if you like it. And it's an artist named Face. That's Phace. And this song is called Energy. And this song is heavy AF. Super fucking sick. And like this is the jealousy factor, you know, when I heard that and you hear all these crazy sounds and all this fat mix and all these different layers and stuff that you're just not really used to hearing, it made me have that little sort of I want to do that thing go off in my brain. So that's what I did.
Yeah, I feel that way about the next song that I'm going to talk about, which is a band that's heavy as fuck, but also knows how to dial it back and do the grunge thing really well, which is Code Orange.
Dang.
Code Orange came out fucking swinging on I Am King. They had releases before that, but I Am King to me just is like the pinnacle of that band. It's just super heavy, but also super laid back, but pissed the entire time. And I watched Code Orange performing at what's the
This is Hardcore.
I watched a show, them playing This Is Hardcore, and it blew my fucking mind. I just watched it on YouTube. I still haven't seen them live.
Yeah.
But I saw that video in 2015 or 2016, and it blew my mind. I started checking out, just because they're so violent. It's a violent thing live. Even though they have like cool melodic sections, they still pulled off the violent thing very well. And in going through all of their songs, I really love their super heavy shit, but my favorite Code Orange song off of that album, I would say, is Dreams in Inertia. It's super laid back, eerie, grungy, and just kind of, I don't know. I love it so much. It reminds me of the 90s, but even more angry.
They definitely have a cool factor. That's what I really like about them. And I don't mean that in like a condescending way. But you know when bands are cool, like Converge.
Yeah, they're super.
It's just cool.
Yeah,
it's like and I don't just mean that in the appearance. I mean the music, the way they put it together is really cool.
It's really cool, and it's kind of simple. It's not like super proggy or anything. They have cool industrial elements to their music. I don't know. It's just the total package for me in a band.
It's just done right.
It's done right.
Yeah,
Love
done
it.
Right. Agree. Let me see here. Oh, you're crossing them off. That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, because I'm kind of going. Well, I'm not. I am going out of order.
Oh yeah, I'm jumping all over the place here. Trying to. So in the beginning of the decade, we were listening to a lot of this, and that's the Squarepusher. I'm sure everybody knows who that is. Electronic kind of artist. Well, I think in like 2008, he put out a video of him like playing bass. Because when we were in Animosity, we watched it. And we were like, what? This motherfucker is all sick at bass? That's crazy. So then a couple of years later, he puts out this album called Shoe Belieter 1. And it's electronic and sort of live. And we actually had the chance to see it a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we saw it. He played with a full band.
And it was
super sick.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Some of the most insane musicians that I've witnessed in real life. I love that kind of, it feels jammy, even though it's not. They played everything that was off of an album, but it felt like a jammy, jazzy performance, and I really dug that. It was so just good. So sick.
Yeah, really good drummer.
And they wore like, what were they wearing? Light up face masks?
It was like these LED like masks, and they would have different shapes and stuff, and like basically a light show on their face, which was really cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
But I picked the song Endless Night, and that's on the Demonstrator album. And that came out in 2010. I learned today.
It's a really good song. See, I would have picked probably Plug Me In.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good songs.
That's just a really good album.
Yeah, it's a great album.
A good piece.
And I remember jamming that a lot on like the Animals headliner.
Totally.
And then when we moved from Santa Cruz down to LA, do you remember jamming that in the van?
Yeah. You know what else I remember
I just
jamming?
remember fucking that day a lot.
I remember jamming Evan Brewer Alone before it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And it blew my fucking mind. And actually, now that I'm saying that, one of Evan's songs would probably be in my top.
That crossed my mind, for sure, to put that on there.
That guy's a fucking great songwriter.
Of course.
Wow.
Of course. He's the man.
Yeah, that totally blew my mind the first time that I heard that record.
Yeah, I remember that day very well, and that Shoe Belieter album always reminds me of that.
Totally, me too.
Good
in the
times.
van, that gray van that we had.
Yeah. So did we move? Was that 2010? No,
we started dating in 2011.
Okay,
so it was that year.
Probably spring 2011.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Now we're back.
That's we were driving in the van that we talked about on another podcast that when we moved back to Santa Cruz.
Yep.
2 years later, a year and a half later, we drove the same van, but it had gone all to shit, and we couldn't stop it the entire ride because something was wrong with
we had to jump start it. We got all of our stuff packed in this minivan, and we had a bunch of stuff on the roof. I had like a bike on the roof, and I had a bike rack, but it had this chair that I'm sitting in right now was on the bike rack.
Oh yeah, I remember that. And we were packed in. There was no room. There was stuff in between us.
Yeah,
in between the seats. And I had my cat Iggy with us.
I had like 2 drum sets in there. It didn't help.
Holy shit.
And then we go to start it up. Oh, guess what? No, it's not going to start.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
We're like, we're moving to Santa Cruz.
Yeah. And then so I think we like jump started it, and then it was like, don't turn it off. Just fucking book it.
So when we got gas, we couldn't turn it off.
Probably could have, but I was just worried that it wouldn't start up again, and then we'd be SOL.
Yeah. Is it my turn or your turn? Oh, you talked about Squarepusher. All right, I'm going to throw it over to Solange. Solange is Beyonce's sister. We all know Beyonce. Beyonce Knowles, the Beyonce.
Never heard
Solange, that's her little sister.
Mm-hmm.
I've known about Solange forever because I was obsessed with Destiny's Child when I was a kid.
Was she like a singer then,
old
Solange?
School. Yeah, I think she's always been a singer, but never in Destiny's Child. They threw her hella shade. Didn't let her in.
Damn.
No,
so
I don't really know the story
her more
there.
Because she was Beyonce's little sister?
Yeah, I knew the name. So when Solange started putting out music, I was really interested. We saw her live.
Yes, we did. At the same place that we saw
our friend
Squarepusher.
Colella. Yeah. Yeah, at the same place. The Independent in SF. But her album, A Seat at the Table from 2016, would have been on my top 10 albums list. It's so good. The song Weary, I'm picking as my top song.
Awesome.
Check it out. It's not like Beyonce, but maybe a little. No, it's not like Beyonce.
No,
it's not like it's not pop music. It's more. I guess
like
it's
hipster-ish.
It's hipstery, jazzy type, cool cat club music. You know,
the cool
you know,
cats.
like yeah, exactly.
All right, so I'm gonna go not jazzy, hipstery, and I'm gonna bring up Surreption. It's a little DM.
Damn,
for you guys.
groovy.
Yeah, little
and
DM.
Fucking
hard.
Yeah.
Fuck all this bullshit that we've been talking about.
Yeah. Surreption is coming through to fucking.
So I'm
murder.
picking Deterioration of Minds. And this was I think it's the first full-length album. I think they have like an EP and then that one, and that came out in 2010.
I think so
I don't
too.
know how I heard about them. I think Chase showed them to me.
Really?
I'm pretty sure.
I can't.
Yeah,
well,
think
you
Chase
showed them to me. You were pretty obsessed with Surreption for a minute, and then we did.
Well, I already been listening to him at this point because I remember listening to it at Evan's wedding, and that was like in summer.
What?
Yeah.
You listened to Surreption at Evan's wedding?
Yeah,
what?
I showed it to Leo and Evan.
No
Yes,
fucking
I did.
way.
I
You
did.
did not know about
And
Surreption
Leo was like,
before.
"Damn, this is sick, dude."
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Because I listened to it on Summer Slaughter 2010. I was listening to it a lot.
I didn't even know that they'd been a band for that long.
Yeah.
But we went on tour with Surreption last year. Well, we went on a half a tour with them.
Yeah. But
and
Deterioration
they
of
were
Minds.
sick. They were sick live.
That's the title of the album and the song, and that thing is hard.
It's definitely hard.
That's a mid-tempo. I love my thing is like the mid-tempo DM. You know?
Yeah.
You can't beat that. Scourge of Iron. That's honorable mention. Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah.
Or Sentence to Burn. You know, just like any fucking
HM.
like. Another thing I gotta say is, see the list. Most of the metal that I'm really into, it's before 2010.
Me too.
I'm an old guy.
I'm old too.
I'm an old guy.
That's what you have to keep in mind is that any metal album I thought of, I went to look at, and it's like, 2007.
And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. So it's not that we're like haters of metal, but there's stuff that really, really impacted me metal wise was 2000 to 2010.
Yeah.
That's where my shit is.
Exactly. And I could definitely come up with a bunch of metal from 2010 to 20 because there's like a lot of good stuff.
Me too. Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm on all of it, so that'd be like weird.
Fuck out of here. Well, here's one
totally
record you aren't on,
totally
and you should be
joke,
ashamed of it. One record you aren't on is The last Ocean album, which, okay, might be for me metal album of the decade.
That's a really good one. Really fucking good one.
That album is so goddamn good. How did they write an album that good?
The vocals.
I don't even, the vocals, the guest vocals, the screamy, pitchy, singy vocals.
Yeah, it did it right.
I want to tour with that band or see that band so badly.
Where are they from?
Europe. I don't know where. But anyway, the song, I'm just talking about how much I fucking love that. They're amazing.
Yeah,
and really you have to check out their last album if you haven't. Incredible. It's called Phanerozoic 1 Paleozoic. I had to write it down because I can never remember the name of it, and I'm sorry if I butchered how to. I did. I think I kind of said it right. And the song is Cambrian 2 Eternal Recurrence. I like every song on that record. It's to me a flawless record, but that song specifically is just written really well, really catchy. If I'm like putting together a playlist, I put together a driving playlist last weekend, and that's the song from that record that's on it. So
yeah, it's super good.
But
really well
just
written,
well done,
put together.
Yeah,
track.
Yeah,
super solid. Let's see here. We got a bunch of stuff. So I'm gonna go with Justice.
Wow, Justice is great.
Yeah. So Cross is my favorite Justice album, but that's from
Mine
2009.
Too. Damn.
But second favorite is gonna be Woman from 2016.
Is that the music video that or was Susan Sarandon in a music video from that?
I don't know.
Or was that what did a new Justice record come out like a year ago? No, Woman must be it. Really?
Yeah.
That's that old.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Because it was not even out yet when we had your birthday in Iowa.
Yeah. Whoa.
Was that fucking 4 years ago already almost?
I can't remember.
Insane.
My concept of time is very... I remember things that have happened. Like, the band started in 2014. Late 2014. But other things I don't have any concept of, like what birthday was where or what Christmas or any of that.
I don't
know.
When I saw that it's from 2016, I thought that was like really weird because it seems like a new album to me.
Me too. I thought it came out last year.
Same with the Faceless one. I would have thought that came out in 2018. So it wasn't that far off.
I knew when it came out because it came out a month after our record, and when we listened to it the first time, we were on tour with Whitechapel.
Okay.
But yeah.
Wow. But I picked the song Randy. It's just a good. And for those of you who don't know, Justice is like an electronic thing, but it's very like 70s rock inspired.
Mm-hmm. I would put them almost in the poppier. They're like a poppier version of Air and that type of stuff.
But it's more like
French disco.
Yeah, it's super cool. I've always loved them.
They're great. They're great.
Very great.
My next.
So that's a good one right there.
That's a good one.
Check it on out.
That is a really good song.
If you like that.
My next song is by the band Citizen. And I don't know what kind of, they're like indie post-hardcore. Is that what Citizen is? I don't fucking know. But the song Sleep from the record Youth is the song that I would choose. I think that's, I don't know, I love that record. That's one of the first Citizen songs I heard, and that's a band that I really obsessed over. That whole record is super good. I don't know. It's hard for me to choose between that song and The Summer, and I don't know. Just listen to the record. It's a good one. Yeah,
we saw them right with Converge, didn't we? I mean, sorry.
Circa Survive.
Circa. Yeah, Circa.
Yeah, we did.
That's what I meant. Okay, well, actually, speaking of Circa, so Animals as Leaders was on tour with Circa. and I was there. And we were really into like playing dance music. We shared a bus with Dredge, and we were like really into playing dance music really loud and kind of just, you know, going crazy.
Yeah, raving.
We would do it a lot every night and enjoy life, if you will.
Yeah.
So I was like always trying to find stuff to play, and Skrillex had like just come out.
Skrillex changed the game.
Changed the game.
I mean, when we started dating, we were listening to so much Skrillex and that type of music and just raving hard. That to me defines a whole period of my life. Yeah. Skrillex, Scary Monsters.
And I kind of feel like now you can say that, but like at the time, it was like not cool to like Skrillex.
Yeah, I mean, how now if someone told me they were into new dubstep, I'd be like, well.
I'd be like, what do you listen to? Let's hear some of it. Anyway.
Probably like Knowle Nidman.
Oh, switching the name around.
Yeah.
That was a popular trend, spoonerism name.
Spoonerism. Well, Cruz came out of that. And dude, okay, Cruz. I don't... See, this is why making this list was so hard, because now that Cruz was like a whole year of my life.
I know. I'm sure we're going to find more stuff
Galactic Melt. Cruz would have been on my top 10 albums if I would have remembered it. Fuck.
Bonus one. But I was, I had left the show that we were playing. It was like in New Mexico. And I went to the gym. And then I needed to get back, but I was kind of far. Like, I think I took the bus there or something. And there was a Toys R Us. So I grabbed, I went into Toys R Us and bought like a little skateboard so I could get back to the show quickly. And when I got back, I was looking on my phone, and I think I had like the first iPhone at this time. And I saw, I don't know if I'm not sure if I had Facebook at the time. But I was on something, and I saw that Skrillex had like a new EP out, and that was the Scary Monsters EP. And so somehow I downloaded it onto my phone. I don't know how I did it, but that was the first thing I downloaded directly to my phone, first music.
Wow.
And then listened to it, and I was like, oh shit, dude, it's going to be so fun on the bus tonight.
Yeah. We've seen Skrillex a bunch.
Yeah, a bunch of times.
I remember one time on tour in Chicago, it was freezing. It was the dead of winter. Oh, I think it was your Last Animals tour, because we were on some kind of RV situation.
Yeah, and we were like, oh shit, there's a Skrillex show after our show. Let's fucking go.
So we went to the Skrillex show. It was freezing fucking cold, and we had to wait out in the freezing cold in a huge line for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then they finally let us in. We get into the rave, and it's a good solid 3.5 hours before Skrillex comes on.
Totally.
It was kind of agonizing, but...
It's funny, I had so much fun doing stuff like that, but now I don't know if I would do that.
Same.
Like, I just, no.
I think it's just different things are fun to me now. Like, I really like charcuterie boards. Is it a board? I really like fine cheeses and naps. Naps. I really like
maybe like
working out
when we're in the next decade.
In our 40s.
It'll come back around.
Well, I was thinking like we'll have kids at some point, and then once the kids are out,
okay, then we're
gonna be like full on raver,
going to like
cool parents.
Well, at that point, a Skrillex rave will be a bunch of old people.
Perfect.
So we'll go to that.
That's our scene.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what's that gonna be like when Skrillex starts playing county fairs and stuff?
It's gonna be weird.
Or casinos.
I don't know, but it's already been 10 years. Because that came out in 2010.
Holy shit, man. Oh, man. Did we see Skrillex at Dre's? No. Dre's rooftop? Mm-mm. The other day I was listening.
Some DJ played some Skrillex one night.
Oh, yeah. That's how drunk I was in the year 2011 at Dre's. Yeah. They gave out free drinks. So
I wonder how many drinks I drank in 2011.
hundreds.
It's not
I'm
good.
thinking that might have made it to the thousands.
Definitely in the thousands.
And that's saying
horrifying.
a lot because I did not drink a lot this year.
Yeah,
at
that's
all.
horrifying. No, this year was all-time low.
Yeah, me too. Last year, all-time high. Not 2011 was probably the high.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just a party every day.
Definitely.
But it was fun. It never got... It was fine.
It wasn't sad, right?
Yeah. We're okay.
Yeah. Well, we were in our
But anyway.
early 20s.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you are in your early 20s, you're in LA. You're kind of like busting loose. And we did that.
You might bust loose a little bit.
And it was fun.
And that's actually what I was really trying to think of when I was thinking of this list. I was thinking of that era, the early...
Now I just drink wine like I'm a 45-year-old aunt. Aunt Chaney.
Oh, shit, what was that? But that's what I was trying to think of, that era, like music that we listened to during that time.
A lot of Skrillex, a lot of Serious Mo, which we both thought that the Serious Mo album High Together came out in the 2010s because that definitely would have been... High Together would have been a song that we both would have had.
Yeah.
But it came out in 2009.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't win them all.
Or can you? Not.
You
So
can't.
you can work a loophole.
You can. And I just
You
did
can't.
because I still talked about it. My next song, I'm
Wait
going
a
to
minute.
go...
Hold on. Yeah, it's your turn. I said Skrillex.
Jesus.
Sorry.
Trying to take my turn away from me. My next song is Purity Ring. Do you remember Purity Ring?
I do.
Purity Ring
Another
came out and it
Chase
was
thing.
dope.
I always try to think of how I found out about the band.
Chase Frazier.
Yeah.
He has introduced a lot of music.
Yeah.
He's got the...
Him and Leo have showed me a ton of stuff.
Who else has shown me a lot of music? You have. Travis.
Now I just go on little hunts on Spotify and find it myself.
I've got to be honest, though. Lately, all I've been listening to is folk rock. Like Neil Young.
Oh,
Buffalo
okay.
Springfield.
Nice. Solid.
So, if I was talking about the songs that I've listened to the most in the last decade, this is not the same list.
Yeah, this is just like a good... This is like a solid list of stuff that we listened to.
Because I listened probably to the Beatles. The Beatles are like a band that I listened to a ton in this decade.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're talking about stuff that's released in the decade.
Yeah, so don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
Okay?
We like a lot of stuff, all right? This is just... We had some
we
parameters that we had to work with.
We have very diverse musical tastes.
All right.
I didn't say the song, but it's Belly Speak by Purity Ring. Purity Ring, I loved them when they first came out. They were combining like sick, slow, kind of trippy R&B hip hop type beat. What kind of beats are those? What do you think, Navene?
I don't know. It's electronica.
It's electronica, but I don't know. It's just kind of slow and
fun.
I don't know. It's good. Check out Purity Ring.
Yeah,
I'm having a hard time describing all of these bands because I just think that they're all so sick.
Yeah. So let's just say the thing and then be like, sick. Boom.
Sick.
I mean, the thing is, it's hard to explain music, and it's also
so hard, and it's hard to explain like the feeling or why you like that music because a lot of the music that I enjoy is because I was just listening to it at the right time.
Yeah, and you get a vibe on it.
Yeah, it affected me emotionally.
Exactly. It's like trying to explain your emotions. It's not easy.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You could be like me and just don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're up. I'm up next.
That went dark.
Yeah, that's true. Something to work on.
He says in his Santa hat.
Yeah. So I think, more in the more of this heavy drum and bass stuff, heavy bass and whatnot. Another guy I talk about a lot, and that's Billin. And this song is called Boogie. And I won't talk about it too much, but holy heck.
Don't.
Holy heck, it's super heavy. And you should listen to it. And you will, because you're going to be listening to this playlist that we're going to make.
This playlist is going to blow your mind.
It's going to be a 30-song fucking banger, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's going to be all over the place.
Yeah, so listen to it while you're in your living room, while you're cleaning your house.
So yeah, Billin, super awesome production, just heavy, just hard-hitting.
Billin is
Dude
like...
fucking kicks ass.
I think if you listen to Billin, you get a good idea of your taste in music.
Yes. Because I'll be like, yeah, I like electronic music, and then people will show me stuff that's like Electric Daisy Festival or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm just like,
they do.
Yeah, no.
I always know when people put stuff like that on. They'll put on, it'll be a dubstep type song.
Yeah.
With some pop vocalist over it, and it's always really bad. It's never
terrible.
It's never a song I would consider to be good.
And it's like, dude, you don't know like what.
It reminds me of like Dance Dance Revolution dubstep.
It's just really happy. And
yeah.
Like this stuff that I'm talking about, this face.
It's abrasive.
Billin,
It's abrasive as fuck.
Yeah, I'm gonna mention off some more of it. It's heavy.
Here's an example of what that sounds like.
It's hard.
It sounds like this. You'll understand when you listen to it. It's not normal. It's not dubstep. It's not like...
It's not safe for the masses.
No.
It is underground.
Yeah, it's super underground. More underground than metal.
It is. I was like, wow, I've successfully found a type of music that's not as big as metal.
I think it's super rare for people in America specifically to be listening to that type of music. It's
not
European.
Big here.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about stuff that affects us emotionally, and for me, Touche Amore is a band that does that to me. Jeremy Boehm, their vocalist, is one of my favorite lyricists and vocalists. He's got an emotional style. It's like post-hardcore, kind of yelling, hardcore-y type stuff.
Yeah.
And if I were to pick, they would have been on my top 10 albums list, but it would have been the album Stage 4. This song that I've chosen, Home Away From Here, is from a different album called Parting the Sea Between Brightness and Me. Home Away From Here is a 2-minute banger. I think it's a little shorter than 2 minutes. And the lyrics are all about touring. But it's written really well. It's not super literal or cheesy. It's poetic. And the lyrics are a thing that are a real driving force for me in music. That's probably why I enjoy.
That's something that I
like
noticed
folky
that you
type
like
music.
pick up on way more than me. Like I don't really. It's not that I don't pay attention. I mean, I don't pay attention, but like especially to the lyrics, you know, I'll pick up on the vocal patterns and stuff.
Yeah.
And melody if there's melody, but I rarely like think about the lyrics.
I think I'm
like, even if I can understand them, I don't try to internalize the lyrics. It's weird, you know.
Yeah, for me, I internalize the lyrics of every song, and if I can't do that, if they're unrelatable to me, then I don't like it as much. And I guess that's why I like a lot of alien type or extraterrestrial type lyrics aren't really my thing. Because they're not like relatable. Personal. It's not personal. Yeah. I really like those heartfelt, emotional, poetic lyrics. Jeremy Boehm is a perfect example of that type of lyricist.
Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah, exactly. Corpse Grinder's lyrics are...
He doesn't write the lyrics.
Another... Who does?
Alex Webster.
Oh, okay, I knew that.
Yeah.
Well, Alex Webster's lyrics are another perfect example of poetic... poetic lyrics that
just
I really dig.
True.
Yeah, to the heart.
Raw.
Stuff you can really relate to.
Yeah, just raw.
Yeah, emotional.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Touche Amore is one of my favorite bands. I listen to them probably every day, every other day.
Still,
yeah.
Solid.
But Stage 4 is the album that I rock all the time, which...
Rocking it.
Great album.
Very cool. All right, I'm going to mix it up here, and I've talked about this band before, and this is Cognizance. Super sick tech death band. And I've chosen Amputated from Actuality. There's some heartfelt lyrics for you.
I wonder what the song's about.
I don't know. It sounds pretty cool, actually. And then album is Illusory. It's like a EP. And
Cool.
It's from 2016. It's just so awesome.
Those guys are pretty sick. Where are they from?
They're from England.
Nice.
And the production just rips. The drums are just super badass. Riffs, killing it. Mike Torres showed me that. Fuck, I just realized something that Mike Torres showed us that we didn't think of.
What?
Todd Terje.
Oh, man. How'd we miss Todd Terje?
Terrier.
That's what I'm saying. This is just a total shit show trying
fuck
to think
this
of your
list.
favorite songs. It's
Stupid.
such bullshit, especially if you're way into music.
Yeah.
Because when it came down to it, if I would have thought about this for the last year, I could have come up with different genres of song lists.
Yeah, whatever. It's just we're just hitting
This
them
is
off with some
fucking
good stuff.
bullshit.
Well, we can add stuff
What about
to
Entheos
the
songs?
Spotify.
I don't have any of those on my list either.
Yeah, I didn't put stuff I played on because that would be. I mean, I know.
Narcissistic.
I know.
And
I like
we're
to
preparing for NAMM, so we have to hold all of our narcissistic thoughts in.
What was it that you came up with for NAMM?
I called it
The acronym.
Name Dropping and Marketing Myself Convention, which I think is pretty accurate.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. All right, Chaney, it's your go.
All
Balls
right,
in your
my
court.
next choice is a fantastic R&B type-ish guy who plays the harp.
Oh.
And this is Active Child. He's got a very angelic, I believe he's a soprano. He's got to be a soprano type voice. And the song is Hanging On. Active Child is one of my favorite discoveries of the past decade. That whole album is great. I've been saying that about all of the artists I'm talking about. I'm going to say it about the next one too.
Let's just put something on there that's not great. It's like, yeah, that's not that good.
It's really hard for me to think of things that aren't great in the first place. So
Yeah, Active Child's awesome. I didn't know that he played the harp. I don't think I knew
he
that.
plays the harp. That's
Wow.
why you can hear it on.
Yeah.
It's in those songs.
I know. Now that you say that, I'm just hearing all the harp.
Yeah, so live he plays harp. It's
Wow.
really
That's
cool.
super fucking hipster.
Very cool. Super hipster. It made me want to get a harp.
Damn, you should
I really
get a harp.
like something you should know about me. I really like hipster shit.
I know. Agreed. Agreed.
It could be believed that I am a hipster.
I've said this before, the anti-hipster thing. Well, it's like, well, we got like really good beer, really good coffee, really good food, kind of quality stuff
I
out of the
love
hipsters.
what hipsters are about. Give me a goddamn, what are those called? Oiled mustache and fucking fedora. I don't care.
I mean, we got a lot of good stuff out of the deal. So
Everything I like is hipster. It's hipster of the past. Do you remember back in the day when like Portlandia first came out?
Yeah.
And being a hipster was different then.
Was it? I guess I'm way anything that I say about any of this, I don't know what I'm talking about.
I
at
don't.
all.
I don't
So,
either.
Keep that in mind.
To me, I don't know. I don't know what being a hipster is.
Well, we do live in the Bay Area, so I mean, there's
pretty hip.
hipsters abound.
It's pretty hip here.
All right, balls in my court. My go.
It's your go. Well, how many songs do we have left at this point?
We're doing pretty good.
I have
We're doing
3
pretty good.
songs left.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like or maybe I have 5. I have 5 songs left. We've
Okay.
just been breezing through these.
We need to slow it down a little bit.
How long have we been going for?
I think we're at. Oh, we don't need to. We're at an hour.
Zion.
Seems like we just only started.
I know.
So here's a really good one. This is Cone Sound.
Damn, Cohen Sound.
Yeah.
We used to listen to them all the time.
Totally. I mean, come on, we can't talk about the decade without.
We saw
some
them
Cone Sound.
live. I think at 10:15 Folsom.
Totally. And I
Totally.
actually hit them up on Twitter when I played in where they're from.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like Bristol. And they came out to the show.
Oh, you met them?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Hung out with them.
Very cool. Are they brothers?
No, I don't know if they're related or not.
Oh.
They're just like little nerdy guys.
Aren't we all?
They're super cool though. And they make electronic music as well, and it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's sort of funky stuff.
It is kind of funky.
So the album
Kinda
is called
80s.
Funk Blaster. If that gives you any clue. And Meanwhile in the Future. I think you guys should check it out.
It's a really good song.
Yeah, it's super sick. I mean, I've listened to that song so many times. It's just awesome. And from a production standpoint, I think that's why
amazing.
Yeah, that's why a lot of this stuff, that's why I got into it, because I still am super into production and learning new things about electronic production and acoustic music alike. So when I heard all this stuff, it just seemed so cool to me that these guys could just make music of that scale on like a laptop, you know?
Totally.
And I was like, I gotta learn how to do that.
This is a trend in your list, and the trend in my list, I think, is lyrical content. You're very into sound design. It defines most of your favorite stuff.
I can't listen to stuff with bad, like, it can have production that's not quote unquote really good, but it has to be intentional. Yeah. Right.
Totally. That Toro y Moi record was kind of like that.
Dang, that could have made it on there. Honorable mention.
Yeah, what was the name of that record? Causers of This. Yeah. Such a good record.
Super good.
That was one that we listened to a lot when we started dating.
We did.
We did. The production on that is super weird. It's very it pans back and forth. What's the word for that?
It's got like pumping, like side chaining.
Yeah, side chaining.
Weird.
It's very strange, but I love that weird production on it. It just really works for that record.
Yeah, and so does actually what's it called? What was the one that Chase Purity Ring is very side chainy. Yeah. Pumpy.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Blessa. That's the name of a really good song on that record.
Okay. There you go. There you have it.
My next song is by Chelsea Wolfe, 16 Psyche. I'd heard about Chelsea Wolfe for years. People were showing me Chelsea Wolfe songs and I liked them, but there was nothing that I like fell in total love with until I heard Hiss Spun, the record. 16 Psyche, I think, to me would be the first song off that I would show people. Just a great track. I listened to it today. I listened to it yesterday.
Day before that.
It's catchy. It reminds me of Marilyn Manson in a way, early Marilyn Manson, which I really liked when I was a kid.
Damn,
it's just
Marilyn
rocky, it's not industrially, but it's gothy. I don't fucking know. It's just really good, and I like it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's got the cool factor that I was talking about.
It's definitely got the cool factor.
Gotta love that cool factor. How do I get that?
Chaney? Don't ask me.
You probably don't wear a Santa hat while doing a podcast.
I think that's pretty cool.
All right. Okay, so Disclosure. What's up?
Damn.
Yeah. We listened to Disclosure a lot this year. For some reason,
not this
sort
year.
of. I mean,
not
sorry, this
year.
decade. That's what I meant.
Jesus. Get it right.
For some reason, it reminds me now, though, of my dad's house. Because he was, like, always playing it in the kitchen whenever we'd go over there.
Yeah, it kind of overdid it.
Yeah. So I'm never mad at hearing it.
But yeah, it reminds me of his kitchen, too.
So Disclosure, Fire Starts to Burn. Funny story as well is that's how I found out about Eric Thomas.
And...
yeah.
You met Eric Thomas outside. Okay, you were getting into Eric Thomas. You told me about Eric Thomas.
So he's like a for those of you who don't know, he's a motivational speaker, kind of just crazy, really animated dude.
Yeah.
And I just looked up like who is the voice on Fire Starts to Burn, and it was like Eric Thomas. I'm like, okay, cool. So I started getting into his teachings and stuff, and he's like, he's inspirational. He's really cool.
Yeah.
And we went to Florida to visit my grandparents.
And we were in Fort Lauderdale at the beach.
Yeah.
At a restaurant on the beach. And they had the best goddamn Brussels sprouts I've ever had.
I think about those
still think
daily.
about those. Yeah. We were with your aunt and your dad. And we got huge fishbowl drinks, and we were sharing them and having a great time.
Yeah.
We were going to leave. I went to the bathroom.
Oh.
I went to the fucking bathroom.
Yeah.
And I was getting into him too because you were into him and
Yeah.
that stuff rubs off on me. And I came back out from the bathroom and you're like, Chaney, I just met Eric Thomas.
Dude, I saw him walking up the street. I was like, Eric Thomas, what's up, man? And he was super nice. He was like, he took a minute to talk to me. You know, he's like, hey, what's going on, dude? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing out here, man? And I was like, oh, I'm from California. And I was just like talking to him, and I got a selfie with him and stuff. Yeah.
What kind of
Amazing.
movie bullshit bad timing is
Amazing.
that for me to be in the bathroom while you're meeting a celebrity?
Dude.
Or meeting, you know?
Yeah.
How did that happen? How?
It was meant to be, man.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's meant to be.
I do some things like that make me wonder, man.
This decade was a decade that I got into, you know, all sorts of self-help and that kind of stuff. Sounds corny, but it's true.
It's because you started doing psychedelics.
That's not true. It's not true. Lies.
Oh, you started before the 2010. I'm just kidding.
No, but another thing I was thinking about this decade is the rise of the podcast.
The rise of the podcast. I mean, if we're talking about things we listen to, podcasts have taken up so much of my time for the past 3-4 years because with podcasts, I can listen to those while I'm working on stuff that I don't have to think about, or if I'm cleaning or if I'm cooking or anything. I just put on podcasts if I'm in the shower.
Yeah.
I listen to so many podcasts and they've been so influential. It's
great.
almost like a motivational speaker all the time, no matter what podcast you're listening to.
You find some little nuggets of motivation in there no matter what, right?
What's your favorite podcast right now?
Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey's done a lot for us.
Yeah. I listen to that one probably the most because it's like this, every episode's the same.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just like throw it on and it's just...
Oh, yeah.
It can just keep you on track with your finances.
The one that I've been listening to the most is The Church of What's Happening Now.
Yeah.
Joey Diaz.
Yeah.
Lee Syatt.
And I've also been listening to, so I got into some new ones this week. I've been listening to this Buddhist one. It's called,
awesome.
It's called the Secular Buddhist Podcast. But it's pretty cool. It's got some good teachings in there.
There's this very cool place in Santa Cruz called Land of the Medicine Buddha. And we're told that at this place in the forest, which has trails that you can hike on in the mountains in the redwoods, we're told that the Buddha that they have there is the biggest Buddha in North America.
It's true, man.
Is that true?
I think it's true.
So basically you can walk through, there's a temple.
Mm-hmm. And they flew in like monks from Tibet to build the place.
Wow.
So it's like a 1-to-1. It's like a real Buddhist monk temple.
Super legit.
I obviously don't know that much about it.
And
but
it's 2.5 miles from our house, 3 miles from our house.
yeah, we need to go. I've been thinking about how I need to go.
I would love to go. One year, did we go? Was it Mother's Day that we took your mom?
I think so.
Because they've got a cafeteria that you can go to for lunch, and they serve a really nice vegan lunch. It's delicious, and you can kind of go and see the Buddha and walk the trails and
I was thinking that's like a must do if you come to Santa Cruz.
It's a monastery, correct?
I don't know.
I don't know
what it is.
Sorry.
But they got a huge Buddha that you can go look at, and it's amazing.
It's super cool.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful.
So I've been listening to that and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. Whose song are we on?
I don't know. You just did Chelsea Wolfe,
Chelsea Wolfe, yeah.
Okay. And then I did Disclosure and I did Eric
yeah, okay.
Thomas.
So my next song is Hiatus Coyote, Breathing Underwater.
Oh, that's a good one.
Really good song. For the album Choose Your Weapon. That album wouldn't have been on my top 10. Probably not. That album wouldn't have been in my top 50. I just really like that song.
That's what I'm saying right there.
That's it.
Soundtrack for the decade.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Coming back. So other really heavy, awesome production ridiculous production. This is dark stuff here, guys. So, not for the faint of heart, not for fraidy cats, not for those who don't like stuff real heavy and weird. This is called Audica. This is heavy.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, this thing it's got weight to it. Okay?
Audica is one of my favorite people that you listen to.
Yeah, because it's like more moody, but still really heavy. Yeah, it's a little more melodic and not just strictly the heaviness.
Yeah.
And this is Oracle. It's on the Lost Souls.
Oh, great song. Great song choice.
Fucking good. God, it's so heavy.
That might be the first one I agree with you on.
And that's also from 2016. A lot of stuff from 2016 on my list. I don't know why. Good year for music.
I found that mine kind of was across the board. None from 2019, and I just feel like that's because stuff from this year hasn't had a chance to settle in with me. I always find out about stuff the next year.
And that's okay.
It's totally okay.
That's one of the things that I think I was actually thinking about this. One of the things that it's starting to almost depress me is that there's this new like music tempo out there.
Yeah, like you have to be into the new thing.
Yeah,
that's
everything's
now,
this
and you forget about everything that
but that's not
had
the point.
happened.
The
I know.
point is to make something that just like can last forever.
Yeah, and that you can digest over time and that you don't just listen to once and throw away. Most of my favorite albums I've had to listen to 3 or 4 times to get into.
Totally.
Circa Survive is a really good example of that for me. Almost every Circa Survive record, except for Juturna, the first time I heard it, I was like, I don't know if this is my favorite record. After I listened to it, I say the word record so goddamn much. I'm sorry.
You like that word.
So
I
think I feel hip when I say it.
Professional.
Record, CD, album, whatever. Every Circa Survive album, it takes me a few listens to get into, and that's one of my favorite bands.
Yeah. So
stop just chewing shit up and spitting it out, man. Really digest that music.
I know. Think about bands that are really revered. You know, Tool and stuff. They're not on this
Tool record that came out this year. Fear Inoculum is great.
But you know what I mean? They're not on this throwaway go schedule. They're going to take their time and make something that's awesome.
I enjoy that. I like that.
And I used to really feel I didn't feel pressure to release the way that I do now when I was younger. When I made Flesh Rot, for instance, I didn't even care when it came out.
Yeah. You just wanted to work on it. Yeah. And put out something that you were really proud of.
Yeah, and the way that I listened to music was the same. Like, one of the reasons why I never I didn't really get into Periphery was because there was so many singles and stuff that I remember being, and this is not how I am now, but I remember thinking, God, they got so many random songs out. I'll just wait till they make an album and listen to it. Wow. And I don't know if people still feel that way at all, but that's how I was. I wanted to listen to albums.
Well, we live in I think in metal, that is still a thing. People still want albums in metal. I don't know if in other genres, for instance, in pop music, you're getting fed singles all the time. But then people put out albums that are really good in pop music too. So I don't know.
And as a listener, I like it. I like getting new music all the time. Yeah. It's just, like I said, I was just thinking about it the other day and it was just sort of bumming me out.
Yeah, I could see that. It's like fast fashion.
Exactly. Can't we just put stuff out and have it breathe for a while?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I like to sit with things personally.
But speaking of Periphery, I have a Periphery song on here, and that is Letter Experiment off the self-title. And it's kind of hard not to talk about Periphery when you talk about the last 10 years of heavy music.
That's very true.
Change the game up. Mm-hmm. Just with the gear and the production and the really cool music.
The internet. To me, Periphery was the first Misha really, really used the internet to his advantage with 7string.org. I don't even know if kids now even remember that site, but Misha was putting shit up under the name Bulb on 7string.org all the time. I remember hearing about Bulb back in the day constantly. He was this 8-string guitar guy, Bulb, and he put out super cool, super unique music.
Totally.
Everyone was talking about him, and that's how I heard about Periphery. And when Periphery came out, it was another game changer. It
really was, man.
Production. Periphery has so much to do with the way that metal albums are produced now. I mean,
you're right.
Not to mention that Nolly, who is one of the most well-known producers now, was the bass player of Periphery.
So many salty producers right now listening to this.
Why? I mean, he's really well known. He's done a lot. He's worked on a lot of really good records, and
dude, it's like the best production.
I've got to say,
it's
most
like
of the time,
standard.
I remember over the summer, Entheos, we were in a car and listening to a shitload of metal songs, and we picked out one song that had the best production of any of the songs we listened to, and we had no idea who produced the song. We had no idea who mixed it, who engineered it.
Yeah.
And we picked it out, and it was fucking Nolly.
Yeah, we're like,
it was a Nolly song.
Yeah, it was Architects, right?
It was North Lane.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But both have Nolly production, and they both sound really good.
So it was rock solid.
He also,
anyway,
Nolly really knows a thing or two about mixing in electronic elements with metal. And that's been a huge thing since the rise of Sumerian, which happened a little before the 2010s.
Yeah.
And with the Faceless, with Veil of Maya, Born of Osiris, Periphery, Animals as leaders, electronics have become like a really big part of modern metal.
Yeah.
And he's really good at mixing that stuff.
I agree. And I think, I really do think they just helped push the genre in a different direction. You know?
Absolutely. Definitely.
Sure.
It's
whether you like them or not, it's hard to deny that. You know?
You can't deny Periphery's influence on this scene.
That's a lot of respect right there for me. And when that first album came out, I fucking jammed it a lot. Because we had just, we did a tour, with, like one of their first tours.
That's actually the tour that we met on. You
was
did
it?
a tour with Veil of Maya and Periphery. Yeah, we met on that tour.
Yeah.
So it's been almost 10 years since
Fuck,
that tour.
that's crazy, man.
Periphery was opening for Animals as Leaders.
Yeah.
There were under 75 people at the show.
Mm-hmm.
It was Periphery, Circle of Contempt, Periphery, Animals as Leaders, Veil of Maya headlining. Yep. Under 75 people at that show. That would be such a different scenario now.
Yeah, it was a good time.
My next song is by Lucy Dacus, Julian Baker, and Phoebe Bridgers, and collectively they're Boy Genius. They put out an EP together on their own. They're all well known. The song is Souvenir. Super good, low key, sad, introspective, just how I like them. Anything that makes me bummed out. I every playlist of mine is the rainy day vibes playlist. Do you think that's true?
Yeah.
I listen to I like to be bummed out.
Oh, you like?
I like to be introspective when I listen to music. It makes me get inside my head and think about things.
Yeah, I mean that's why I like heavy music. I like stuff that's like dark and not safe for mainstream society.
This is kind of explaining Entheos.
True. Okay, so speaking of mainstream society.
Next.
For sure. All right.
For sure, dude. Bro.
For sure, dude.
We have this joke because Navene is from California.
Santa Cruz, California.
Santa Cruz, California, and there are a ton of fucking bros here, which is cool.
We invented bros.
They invented bros, and Navene talks like such a bro. He's like, so for sure, dude, it's like hella tight for me to like be up in this surfer grom, bruh.
For sure, dude.
Totally, for sure.
Yeah.
So do you think that I've developed more of a Californian accent since I moved here?
I mean, you definitely have a little bit.
One time.
But you've picked up words for sure.
Yeah, I say hella. Dude, today I did the cardinal sin.
What'd you do?
Well, I was at the dispensary, the weed store, because we like totally have those in California.
Oh, jelly motherfuckers out there.
I was up in the weed store, and I was like, the guy was asking me how my Christmas was gonna be, and I was telling him, you know, we're having
He's gonna spark it
my
up,
fiance's family over for Christmas. And he's like, oh yeah, that's gonna be cool. And I was like, oh yeah, for sure, it's gonna be hella tight, bro.
You said that.
Hella tight.
Bro.
Yeah.
Damn.
It was really embarrassing.
And he was like, oh, totally. Yeah.
He didn't think anything of it. He was like, oh, for sure. Totally, dude. Have fun smoking that indica, bro. Gonna get totally gnarred out on the wave. I don't know. I'm just saying shit. Are you like totally gonna smoke that indica on the cliffs, man? It's like, it's so tight.
The thing is, smoking indica on the cliffs is tight.
I know. So it's hella tight. So fuck you.
Okay.
Go Giants.
Go, yeah. No.
Niners.
All right, so something that I got into a lot halfway through the decade is Travis Scott.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That was before your car radio broke. Yeah. Navene has been driving around in his car. He's got you have a really nice car. Pretty nice.
It's an okay car.
You have an okay car.
Yeah.
And Navene drives around with no working radio in his car.
I just wear my earbuds.
And it has a little digital screen, and the sound doesn't work.
Because the screen's stuck on the the welcome screen, so I don't know what to do. And
It's
I don't
so
feel like getting
shot.
it fixed.
And it's been this way for a year and a half.
Yeah, but it's mainly just like a work car at this point. But yeah, you're right.
So?
I gotta get it fixed. Throw it on the to-do list.
First, you gotta get
Scott,
that window fixed.
Super cool. When I first heard it, I was like, oh, that's like weird. You know, kind of like dark. Like.
Didn't we just
rap-ish.
watch a Travis Scott documentary?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm like that into the newer stuff. I hate to be that guy.
Okay,
but
hipster.
this is the Rodeo album, and pretty much any song on there is really good.
True, that's a really good
but
album.
I put Antidote, so that'll be on the playlist. It's just good stuff. But then it you know, I had already, it blew up, right? The dude blew up for sure.
Blew the fuck up. I'm going Biebs in the Trap.
Yeah, that's a great one too.
Biebs in the Trap.
I also listened to a lot of R&B and stuff, but I didn't really include any of that on here. I don't know why.
Well, I threw a lot of that on there, and so, I've talked in a few episodes about how much I love Spotify because Spotify introduced me to Kilo Quiche. Kilo Quiche is R&B. It's kind of like low-key R&B. It's not super produced. Low quiche. This particular album is not like super overproduced. It's kind of
regular
produced. It's just produced. So, it's called Reflections in Real Time. My number one record of the entire decade. My number one album. Sorry for saying record so many times.
Steve says record a lot.
Because record just makes you feel like you're a little more established.
Well, you know what I learned and noticed when we moved to LA? That the term record, can apply to song too. Like people will call a single a record.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Gnarly.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. But Kilo Quiche, Life, the Cruel Interlude from the record, album, disc, Reflections in Real Time. That's one of my desert island songs.
That's the number one song.
Oh, I have one more song.
Okay, I have one more. Yeah, I've got one last one. I've got my top song. Throw
it out, your top song.
All right, so I did a little...
to be mistaken, my next song is not my top song. Remember.
Okay, well, this is definitely my top song. This is my number one song. I think this is my favorite song.
Ever?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So earlier we were talking about how maybe there could be a workaround. Well, there's a loophole, okay? And the number one song of the decade is Serious Mo, Hide Together.
Hard to get.
Okay. Because it's on Mosaic. It's on the EP in 2009, an uninvited guest.
Yeah.
Also on the album Mosaic 2011. So
that's sick.
That's a technicality for you.
That's a great song.
That's the best song.
We can agree on that.
It's my favorite song.
Okay,
so
this one is in the
Boom,
ether of songs that I like. One of my top 15. This one's gone out to a couple of boys who we know. We went on tour with them. Our third tour, I believe. The Contortionist.
Oh.
Language Part 1.
Damn.
Off of the record Language 2014. That song is so goddamn good.
So
they
good.
wrote a hit with that one. I hadn't really listened to The Contortionist before that song came out. Mike Lassard joined the band. We had gone on tour with Last Chance to Reason, Mike's old band. And it was undeniable how sick of a vocalist Mike Lassard is.
So good.
So when he joined The Contortionist, it piqued my interest. And this is the song I think they announced him with. And I went and listened to Language right away. Blew my mind.
Oh, that's the first album he's on?
Yeah.
Damn, they came out hard.
They came out really hard. What a good record.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's another kind of game changer.
That's a game-changing record. I think since then, there are so many bands who have wanted to sound like The Contortionist. And rightfully so. It's a real good record. So, hats off to all the bands and songs we just named. We love a lot of other stuff. This was really hard.
Yeah, and it's like we've done so much fucking shit in the last decade.
Yeah.
We started the podcast. The band. Met each other.
This podcast. Oh, did you already say that?
I did. That was the first thing
sorry,
I said.
I've drank 2 glasses of wine.
Oh,
which for Auntie
she's
Chaney,
getting crazy.
It's a little hardcore.
But,
so this has been great, and this is our last podcast of the year, which is also our last podcast of the decade. This is only our 11th episode, so let's not be too self-indulgent.
Get too grandiose.
But it's been really awesome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in every episode, for coming back, for supporting us in this endeavor.
Yeah.
It's cool. Don't forget to buy one of these coffee cups. We're scheduling some super awesome guests for next year.
That we are.
Lining some sick shit up. 2020 is going to be a good one. I hope you guys have had a good year. I hope you've had a good decade. And
seriously,
let's go into 2020 and just be the fucking baddest motherfuckers that we can be.
Yeah,
Excuse my potty mouth.
We got to keep the podcast alive.
We've got to keep the podcast alive.
2020.
Keep your dreams alive. 2020.
And we're going to have a bunch of new music for you motherfuckers. We're working on it.
Yeah,
super
we will.
hard.
We will. Merry Christmas to those of you who celebrate. It's coming out on Christmas.
Yeah,
love you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll see you
Have
next
a good
week.
one. Episode 11.